Welcome to I Said What I Said. I'm Brad Wakai. That's Tyson Gentry. This is week one of the NFL. This is our reaction show. We are recording this right after the early slate and the afternoon slate is over, right before we kick off on Sunday Night Football. So Tyson and I are going to try to do things a little bit differently. We're always tweaking stuff during the NFL season. We just felt like we weren't giving maybe like our actual honest reaction when we recorded a little bit on Tuesday because we had time to digest. And we're like, well, maybe. So here's what we're going to do. 4 things that stood out to us this week, maybe 5, maybe 3, maybe 2, who knows, but things that stand out to us. That's what we're going to lead the show with. And then we're going to do leftovers and just touch on something in every single game that we didn't discuss in the lead in. So that's how we're going to do the reaction show. Tyson, the NFL is back. We got the appetizer on Thursday night. We got a little bit of the salad course on Friday with the fun game between the Chargers and the Chiefs. And then we just went full on in to the NFL slate in week one.
Yeah, it was. Did you have fun today?
I did.
Did you feel like you were back?
I did, and I was texting one of my friends, Tyson, and I was like, you know what? It's just such a blessing to be able to watch the NFL after watching 12 hours of freaking college football when I'm losing my mind. It was so bad.
Goodness. My goodness.
I watched 2 drives in the NFL. I'm like, I could just feel like a zen falling over me because there's competency and good quarterback play.
Yeah, I feel like, maybe even taking a zen. Like, that's the level of calm that it gave you today. This was, the NFL, it's just a much better product. Today was awesome. It was sloppy. It was bad, almost, unanimously across the board. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, NFL week one, we know, they have preseason, they got a lead in. It's not the same when you're going full speed in week one. So there's a lot to unpack here, Tyson. Let's just dive right in. We're going to carry some stuff over from what we did last year, but if it's your first time, this is how we're going to start it off with a little bit of Armchair Quarterback.
Armchair Quarterback.
And so this is when we're just going to dive in and discuss the things that stood out to us. And I think before we play the Sunday night and the Monday night games, the Packers looked freaking incredible, man. You bring over Micah Parsons, he gets a sack in his debut. Thought Jordan Love was excellent. We had some people kind of coming in here, and we were one of them. We're like, wow, we're not quite sure about the Packers. Everybody's kind of talking them up. Like, we're going to have to see it. And the Lions are probably the cream of the crop, even though they lost their coordinators. The Packers were the better team today. They looked fast. They looked physical, well-coached, really well quarterbacked. Jordan Love going 16-22, 2 touchdowns. Didn't make the stupid mistakes that he normally does. And I thought that was a huge thing. Stays under 200 yards, but, guys, let's watch the games. Guy was in control. Yes, he missed some throws, but I thought if that's what they're going to get out of the QB play, it's a good start. And Tyson, you go down the receiving thing. Of course, that list is just longer than hell. That's what they do in Green Bay.
Been trying to say it all summer. Like, who's wide out one? Who's wide out one? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, that's what we've been trying to beat home here. I've been saying for a long time, Jaden Reed and Matt Golden are the same size. They're going to occupy the same spaces. And then all of a sudden, Jaden Reed's in the end zone. Matt Golden is running open across the middle of the field. What a dime from Jordan Love to Tucker Kraft to get the party started. And then from that point on, it was just kind of an ass kicking. And I think Jeff Hafley and that defense get a lot of credit. Tony Romo is stealing all of our thunder by saying future head coach when talking about Jeff Hafley. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. And I was like, man, Tyson and I have been following this guy from Boston College. And, he was, of course, a head coach. It's not like he's a coordinator. But, yeah, I think, when he left Boston College, Tyson, I think maybe he had a little thought in his mind that he could be coaching in the NFL as a head coach.
Well, if they look like this, the dude might be strapped to a rocket ship. They were awesome today. And, look, it's week one, and Detroit's breaking in a new offensive coordinator. But that didn't look like we're used to the Detroit Lions looking, and how much of that is no more Ben Johnson, how much of that is what the Green Bay Packers did. The rest of the season will tell us a little bit more, but we only have the one data point to go off of, and that defense was fast and violent, and like Lucas Van Ness is looks like the best player in the NFL, out of nowhere. This was impressive.
I'm looking at this here, and Green Bay, we know they like to put in assets and resources on the defensive side of things. It's their ethos under Brian Gutekunst. Edge Cooper, 12 tackles, 8 of them solo. Remember him? That's a high draft pick. Javon Bullard, 9 tackles, 7 solo. Quay Walker, another high draft pick, 9 tackles, 6 solo. Rashawn Gary, 7 tackles, 3 solo, 1.5 sacks, 1 TFL, 3 QB hits. These are guys that they put money into. These are guys that they put resources into. I mean, just go down the list here. Then, like you said, Lucas Van Ness, 4 tackles, 1 solo, half sack, 1 TFL. Devontae Wyatt, 3. Like, just go down the list there, and you're going to find guys that the Packers have said, these are the people that we want to select. These are who we want to build the defense around. They finally have the guy in Halfley to do it. They get 4 sacks on Jared Goff. He threw the ball 39 times today. Yes, he completed 31. Only 225 yards, 5.8 yards per completion. A lot of it was checkdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs was shut down in the run game, 9 carries, 19 yards. He caught 10 balls. 10. That's the type of defense that the Packers were using throughout the entirety of the contest. I mean, everything was taken away. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a really good catch on 1, but 4 catches, 45 yards, 6 targets. He was kind of blanketed. This was an absolute, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to establish ourselves that we are true contenders for the Super Bowl in the NFC. You couldn't have asked for a better start than what we got from Green Bay.
No, and they out-physicaled the Lions on both sides of the ball. That's what Detroit's been hanging their hat on for the last couple of years in that division. And what do we say about the Milwaukee Bucks all the time? Like, maybe it's just the thing within the state, because they just showed us, hey, we're done being bullied.
Level of concern for the Lions?
0 right now. I'm not reacting to week 1 very much. I didn't like when we did the division winner breakdown thing. It was like it's going to be close, and they were closer to a wild card team than a division winner before the season started to us.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty confident Detroit was going to win this division, even without the 2 coordinators. I'm pulling off that prior a little bit here, but I'm not going to overreact and say they're missing the playoffs or not good or anything. I think Green Bay's really good. Like, that's what we just saw. I think that's what we can take, and we can probably bump them up. Detroit's going to look good against lesser teams, and I think by the end of the season, we're going to see a much better or a much different offense, I should say. You lose Ben Johnson. Yes, you have an offseason, but like we talked about in our Eagles thing, sometimes we have a new play caller, it just takes a little bit of time. Different voice, different things, different vision, different way of seeing things. I think the Lions will be fine. Like you said, I'm not overreacting. That's the common mistake that people make coming out of week 1. It's like, oh, this team's great and this team sucks.
They might look different the next time they play the Packers.
Let's move on to Bucs-Falcons, because I know you wanted to lead with this, because wow. People talk about there's crazy games in college like all the time, like just because it's, kids playing and before the clock change, clock stopped at half the time. But when you go back and forth in an NFL game late, it's like, holy smokes, what is going on? And that's what we got here. This game had everything. I mean, struggles in the first half. Looked like the Falcons were in control. No, the Bucs throw a counterpunch. Okay, now we're kind of stalled out. And then it was like flurry. This is like, hey, these are the 2 best teams in the NFC South. Let's see who can take one early, and the Bucs came out on top.
I feel like I've seen these 2 teams play this game like 15 different times in my life. Feels like they play it 4 times a season, even though they only match up twice. Like, this was fantastic. Michael Penix looked bad, and then he looked really good. And then, there's some stuff to be desired down in the red zone. But the Bucs won the game, but I kind of want to start with, what did you see from Atlanta to make you think this year is going to be any different as far as personnel utilization?
Nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make me think that this year could be different is the quarterback. And that's not saying that Kirk Cousins was not a good player to start. I mean, he kind of tailed off at the end, but Penix, like you said, looked bad early. He finishes 27 of 42, just shy of 300, a touchdown. Had 1 sack, didn't throw a pick. That's what you want here. But I'll throw it back to you, and then you can expand on kind of what you were thinking. But what do you think of the running game for the Falcons? Because Bijan Robinson, he looked great. He catches that long ball, 6 catches, 100 yards, but 12 carries, 24. We've highlighted that. It's like, hey, sometimes this thing just doesn't work for the Falcons run game.
Yeah, and a lot of those are just tough in the red zone that he wasn't able to get in the end zone. And Tyler Algier, kind of much of the same thing. It just felt like more of the same from the Falcons. There was moments where it was like, oh, this thing is going to be really fun. I mean, Bijan Robinson, 50-yard touchdown 2 minutes into the game, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this year is going to be what we've been waiting for. And then it wasn't. We'll get into Arthur Smith later. It wasn't like that, but it was not confidence inspired. Now Drake London hurts himself. Darnell Mooney's out. All of that stuff. Kyle Pitts looks okay at times today. But the star of the show today, Brad, Emeka Egbuka, welcome to the NFL. Dude,
4 catches, 67, 2 tuds. Made my guess was 5 catches for 51 for Evans. And, that's normally the guy there. And it was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Evans is on this team. I mean, that's the type of performance that Ibuka had. And a lot of people were talking, fantasy guys or, season-long prop betting guys. It's like, hey, Ibuka is somebody to circle. It got to the point where it was like, is everybody just too bought in? Wow. What a performance from Emeka Ibuka. Now, Tyson, I hate to be the sour guy because, it's week 1 and we try not to overreact. Everybody's going to be crowning him already. This was against the Falcons defense. That's what we got to remember, folks.
And Chris Godwin will be healthy at some point this season. He's going to eat into that stuff. But and we got a young Wake who missed field goal here to send this thing to overtime. This game truly had everything. I think that you have to feel pretty confident in if you were a Bucs backer before the season, escaping here with a win on the road when they didn't look good. Baker couldn't get things going. They couldn't get the run game going either. Baker was the leading rusher today for Tampa. And as you said, like the target distribution probably isn't going to look this way going forward. So to work out the kinks against a division rival on the road and get the win, I think it's a pretty great spot to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of going on the road and getting a win, the Bengals escape with one. And I expected the Bengals to perform much better than they did. This is a tough place to play. This has kind of been a house of horrors for them, or at least Cleveland has at the start of the season, because we know the Bengals struggle to start the season. And for a long time there, Tyson, it looked different for the Bengals. And then the Bengals curse just starts hitting them. And it's like, what is happening? Joe Burrow gets outplayed by Joe Flacco. Jamar Chase was a non-factor. T. Higgins caught 3 balls for 33 yards. Chase Brown had moments, but he was stifled in the running game. He had 2 yards a pop. And on the flip side, it's just the defensive line for the Browns beating the shit out of the Bengals offensive line once again. And it's just whenever this is the matchup, Jim Schwartz has the advantage, and that's what we just all got to remember.
I'm not saying anything, but it's just a little interesting. Joe Burrow doesn't throw the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and it's quiet. But on Thursday, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith don't touch the ball, and the world's ending. Look, man, they got out of there with a win. We knew I was telling you on our betting show you were a lot more confident in Zach Taylor than I was. But the fact that they got out of here with a win is a pretty big improvement in Cincinnati. And I don't know if it looks good for a long time. They looked good on the first drive when Chase Brown scored, and then it just slowly started being like, they're going to lose this game. This is going to be nuts. And then they were able to pull it out. They haven't pulled one out in week 1 in a while. The Browns offense is going to be really fun to watch in the way that like the Panthers offense might be fun to watch because you're going to get Harold Fannin. He looked awesome today.
He did.
Him and David Njoku are playing different positions. Like they might both be tight ends, but they're going to play at the same time. I think that's exciting. Quinshon Judkins signs his deal. We'll see what happens there. But Dylan Sampson is your number 1 receiver in Cleveland. Congratulations, guys. It was interesting from them. But on the Bengals side of things, defense only allowed 16 points. And you win the game. Yeah, it's the Browns and it's week 1 and all that stuff. But like that's something that you can at least point to in that locker room if you're Zach Taylor and be like, hey, see this?
That's a good point. And because I was going to kind of be like, well, it's against the Browns offense. Guys, how many times do you have to say this? It's the NFL. And there's other guys that get paid on that side too. And you guys all run the same speed and you all are as big and fast and strong as each other. Like that's the thing that people forget. It's like, yeah, just because, it's the Bengals and we think they're a legit Super Bowl contender and the Browns suck. Like the simulations are telling you this is probably going to be like a 6-point game. We're going in here. This is probably a 6-point game. And we all like, the Browns are going to be the worst team and the Bengals are going to be awesome. And it's like, yeah, but they might only win by a touchdown. That's the stuff that I think, if we come back into perspective. So that's a long-winded way of saying I agree with you on that front. Like we can point to it and be like, well, what's this defense going to look like against somebody else? I mean, Flacco threw for 290 and he had the 2 picks. Like what does it look like if that doesn't happen? The Bengals probably lose again. And we're like, oh, this is a terrible defense. But I thought it was positive that Trey Hendrickson gets a sack in a TFL. I thought it was positive that where is this thing? Shamar Stewart got a sack, I believe. I'm trying to find it here, Tyson. It's not popping up. Maybe I just made that up in my head. But I thought I heard somebody say Shamar Stewart with the sack, or maybe it was just with the pressure. I'm not quite sure. But I might have been making that up in my head. But I'm with you. This is a positive thing that you can build upon if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and say, okay, Al Golden we can see at least some vision. And we got the win. Let's move on to week 2.
The teams and the players don't give a shoot about what we're talking about. We just held an NFL team to 16 points. I think that's the real talking point. They're not going to look around and be like, well, when it's Lamar Jackson, they might score 40 on us. I think they're going to be encouraged.
I think so too. So let's close here with Aaron Rodgers leading the Steelers to victory over his old team in the Jets. And he had a nice little comment to say after, I'm glad I beat everybody associated with the New York Jets. A little shot at Aaron Glenn, maybe a little shot at Garrett Wilson, Tyson. I don't know. Maybe shot at some of his old teammates. I'm not quite sure. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's prickly. But 34 points for the Steelers. What type of twilight zone are we living in?
32 for the Jets. It was this was the track meet of the day. I don't think anybody had that. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, complete with did you see his little jumping fist pump? That was very funny. I enjoyed that. And the Jets looked a lot more competent on the offensive side of the ball than I think anybody was expecting.
Fields was awesome.
The Steelers couldn't run the ball again. The game came down to a 40-year-old, 42-year-old, whatever he is, Aaron Rodgers, and he delivered here. And I don't know how many more of these we're going to get out of his career, and I'm not a fan of all the extracurricular stuff he's found himself in. But I'm just trying to remind myself, hey, this is one of the guys that I grew up watching and is one of the best I've ever seen. That this was vintage.
Vintage. How long it stays, not sure, because
no idea.
Everybody's like, well, the Jets defense is supposed to be their strength. It's like they got rid of the guy last year and they're bringing in a whole new system. I don't know how good this defense is going to be to start. Now, maybe later we'll see, but we saw it with Aaron Glenn. It takes a little while for that system to start cranking it back up. But 4 touchdowns, like you highlighted for Rodgers, only 8 incompletions. He was awesome. DK Metcalf, immediate impact, 4 catches for 83. Calvin Austin, this is a guy who people have been circling as hey, can he pop? 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. And I thought Freiermuth, you just extended it. He's not just a pass catcher, and I think a lot of people look at that and be like, well, he just doesn't do stuff. He's involved in the blocking game and the blocking scheme. So he's like a dual threat, for lack of a better term, when it comes to that tight end. But 3 catches for 28 yards when, Jonnu Smith gets 5 for 15. It's come on, Arthur Smith. Let's start bringing some things along here. But the thing that stood out beyond the Rodgers thing, I thought Najee Harris was the problem with the running game. Jalen Warren, he's going to come in. It's going to be solved. He's so much better than Najee Harris. 11 carries, 34 yards. Jets have a good front.
Who was the second leading rusher? Who had the second most totes today for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah, well, I think you're in for it, folks. I think that we're going to get a season of Kenneth Gainwell, and it's going to be fun. But all of us are, the Caleb Johnson guy from Iowa was pretty good, and you get excited about him, and then Arthur Smith gets his hands on him. 1 carry today, and we'll see how much he works in. But when we're talking about the Falcons and what does that personnel usage look like, and it was Artie did get his hands on Caleb Johnson. That's why he didn't touch the ball today.
Justin Fields is somebody that I've been critical of, and so have you. Just don't see it. This was maybe his best game as a pro. Yeah, 16 to 22, was throwing the ball down the field for 218 yards, 9.9 yards per completion, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Okay, taking care of the football, no fumbles. How about that for Justin Fields? Because that's been a bugaboo. But he used his legs really well. And this is something we highlighted in our preseason. We're I think this is going to be a little bit more spread look, kind of dual threat, little option, things like that. He carried the ball 12 times, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. So 3 total on the day. Breece Hall, I think that actually opened them up a little bit, Tyson. 19 carries, 107 yards. I wanted him to get in the end zone, but that's for personal reasons. But here's the thing. Garrett Wilson, 7 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown. This is great. Garrett Wilson, that's our guy. Breece Hall, 2 catches, 38 yards. Tyler Johnson, 2 catches, 31 yards. Mason Taylor, 1 catch, 20 yards. Josh Reynolds, 2 catches, 18 yards. Jeremy Ruckert, 2 catches, 16 yards. Oh, so it's just Garrett Wilson. Yeah. What happens if you take him away? This thing could get ugly. I mean, maybe the running game opens things up. That's what you're hoping. But that stood out to me. Yes, Justin Fields was awesome. But if you play a cornerback who can erase, or a defensive coordinator is just going to erase Garrett Wilson, Tyson, this thing could get a little stifled.
Yeah, I think we're in for another, 30+% target share for Garrett Wilson, and that's just the role he's carved out for himself in the NFL. And there's not many guys that can erase him. So there's worse guys to hit your wagon to. Breece Hall looked awesome. Braylon Allen did not. Justin Fields looked awesome running the football. Dude, TJ Watt, I love TJ Watt, and I get like why it's always everybody's fighting about who's the best defensive player in the NFL. But on that bootleg touchdown, like that's what we're talking about. Like to me, and somebody can find a clip of Myles Garrett biting on one of those too, but it's like the Justice game planned all summer and said, hey, we can if we run the fake to this side, he's gonna bite and Fields is gonna score a touchdown. And that kind of that stood out to me pretty drastically because this is a guy who is the highest paid dude in now Parsons. I don't know where TJ stands, but gotta make that play.
Yeah, that's a good call. And he's super talented, can really good at getting after the quarterback. And I want to see how he ages. Like how does this thing age? Like, is he going to be able to still do some stuff in the run game? Yada yada. But yeah, that's nitpicking a guy who's an elite pass rusher.
But
32 points, or was it 30? I just lost it.
34-32.
34-32. We're talking Steelers Jets, folks. 66 points. What the hell was that?
What was the over under? Like 38.5?
Oh, it had to be. I mean, 33 probably. Remember, like last year, it probably would have been like 30. I mean,
like
I can't
nothing else
did
they touched the over. I don't know how many of these games went over. And this one they almost hit it by themselves.
Yeah, they made up for it. That's for sure. Okay, let's get into the leftover section here, Tyson. We're going to speed through some of the games. We're going to go down. It's not going to be in chronological order. This is going to be just how I'm viewing it. Broncos win 20-12. Cam Ward in his debut had some ups, had some downs. I'm not taking anything away from him because he's playing a Broncos defense. Like, I mean, God, that was the best defense in the league last year. He goes 12-28, 112. Okay, we'll give him some grace.
Yeah, there were some throws that I'm sure he'd like to have back, but I think if you're going to rag on a quarterback in that game after today, it's got to be Bo Nix. That offense has got to be better. They looked awful similar to the first 6 weeks of last year, not the close.
No, 25 of 40, touchdown, 2 picks, 176 yards, only 4.4 yards per completion. Now, Courtland Sutton was good, 6 of 61 in Tud. Troy Franklin, 444. Who else is going to be featured in that passing attack? I mean, there's a ton of guys catching. It's classic Sean Payton stuff. But RJ Harvey, your boy, 6 carries, 70 yards, average 11.7 a pop, man. Think he's going to be the guy sooner rather than later there.
We'll see. I mean, Mims muffed a punt today, which means that he's going to go to the doghouse for the next 2 or 3 seasons. Maybe Harvey gets some of those touches too.
I'm just going to say this right now. Mike McDaniel's going to be the first coach fired in the NFL, and I don't know if it's going to last. I don't know if it's going to last like to week 4 or 5, man. They get blasted 33-8. This team looked horrendous, dude. I mean, Daniel Jones looked like John Elway. He's running around. He's 22 of 29, 272 with Tud. He's comfortable. Meanwhile, this offense is supposed to be high power. Tua throws 114. What the hell? Waddle and Hill are bottled up. This offense sucks. This operation is a joke. Stephen Ross wanted to fire McDaniel 2 years ago. I don't think he's going to wait long on this one.
I mean, week 4 or 5 would be surprising, but that genuinely caught me by surprise. It was very funny.
I'm dead serious too.
You are the last person that I know that's a real member of Tuanon, the last one on that island. Do you need a lifeboat, or like, do you want us to pick you up by helicopter? Dude, he was horrible today. That second interception was like Avery Johnson throws that at Kansas State. Tyson,
I'm putting the house on the market.
Yeah. I mean, there's nobody buying it, dude. You might as well burn it down.
I think I'm going to. It might be over. Hey, Jonathan Taylor, your boy, 18 for 71. You think he's going to have a comeback this year, by the way?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think you're more confident in JT's stats if Anthony Richardson is playing, but I think Daniel Jones just showed us today he's not getting that job back. This was something Shane Steichen can hang his hat on for like 6 more weeks. If Daniel Jones sucks, he can say, yeah, but look what he did against Miami. And Miami might end up being one of the worst teams in the league. That was the genuine takeaway. Tyreek is throwing a fit 7 minutes into the game on the bench. Waddle heads to the medical tent. HN is inefficient but finds his way to the end zone. Tua can't read a defense. The defense sucks. There's nothing to redeem here. I just think, yeah, McDaniel needs to get as many like jewel pods sent to the office as he can. Well, he can get them for free.
I know. What a disastrous showing by the Dolphins. And hey, if you're the Colts, everybody's crying and complaining. No Anthony Richardson. I mean, Daniel Jones. Come on, that's what we said. Daniel Jones might be the better option here. So keep an eye on that. It's week 1. We'll see how we progress. Tyson, Raiders won 20-13 over the New England Patriots in an ugly game, a game that featured a passing aerial assault without points coming. I mean, Geno goes 24-34, 362, a touchdown and a pick. Drake May 30 of 46 passing attempts with a Mike Vrabel game plan throughout. That was shocking. 287, a touchdown and a pick, because nobody could get anything going on the ground. Gentry 19 carries, for 38 and a tud. Travion Henderson, who was hyped up, he only touched the ball 5 times, getting the carries 5 times for 27 yards. Mondre Stevenson 7 for 15. I mean, dude, it's hilarious. I mean, the juxtaposition on both sides, they basically played the same game. Quarterback's going to throw it a million times. Running back can't get going. One guy's going to get hyper-targeted and catch a million balls and get a bunch of yards. This is classic.
And all offseason, it was Drake May is going to take this crazy step, and the Patriots are going to be awesome. And that still might very well happen, and I'll look even dumber than when I said it over the summer. But if they did just play the same game, then which quarterback was better today?
Geno.
And it wasn't really close. And I think that's fine. But like everyone's been trying to tell us, Drake May's like a dark horse MVP candidate. The Patriots are going to win 11 games. And dude, I'm glad that Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are safe. And I'm knock on wood because I might, ruin this for everybody. But the running games across the board today were horrible. Nobody could run the ball. So thank you. Maybe Baltimore will be a palate cleanser for us.
Yeah, maybe. Cardinals beat the Saints 20-13 on the road. Spencer Rattler almost did it, man. He almost drove him down, and Jawan Johnson drops the football. They should have been tied. And oh man, here's the classic worry that I have. Here's my takeaway from the Cardinals. Stats look good, right? Kyler efficient, 21-29. Now he threw for 163, but 2 touchdowns. He had 38 more on the ground. Was great scrambling. Trey Benson looked good. Averages 8.6 a pop. James Conner was powering his way into the end zone. He gets one on the catch. Marvin Harrison 5 catches for 71, a touchdown. Trey McBride 6 for 61. Everything looks good, but they don't make the plays when you need to make the plays. Like this game should have been over like way before the fourth quarter, and they didn't do it. And they let the Saints hang around, and they got away with one.
Yeah, they needed to put him on ice early, weren't able to do it. Budda Baker, invisible in that first half, and you need more out of that guy if you're them. But new look Cardinals defense, new look Saints everything, and it delivered about as expected. They said Kyler was sick like 40 minutes before kick. I saw that. Yeah, and then he looked great to start the game. Maybe it set in later because that offense went from, oh, this is going to be fun to pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it was not great. I was sick by looking at those jeans he was wearing. Do you see those jean shorts he walked in with?
I've seen some pretty interesting Instagram captions, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody built like Kyler Murray.
I know, dude. It's so strange, and he walks so funny too. Like I don't get it. But Giants go into Washington and get embarrassed, 21-6. Tyson, the Russell Wilson thing. 17-34, 168. There were a bunch of.
I've already seen enough, dude.
There were a bunch of drops, but Tyson, he led the freaking Giants in rushing. I thought Tyron Tracy was the guy. 10 carries for 24. Bill Krosky-Merritt. I don't know why ESPN won't update it. He emerged 10 carries, 82 and a tud. Had the long of 42. So we'll see how this thing looks. But Jane Daniels didn't look great the entire time, but he was in control enough. And the Commanders start their season off coming off an NFC championship with a comfortable win at home.
Yeah, an easy one. And the New York Giants are going to be the same football team they were a year ago. Like that defensive line is really good, and that's something you can be excited about. But this offense is the same offense. It's Wan'Dale Robinson is going to get 15 targets here. Russ didn't there was a bunch of drops. Some of these things were just bad throws, and neighbors can be a little lazy when the body language turns sour. And sometimes you're watching these games, and it's like, yeah, dude, I'd be pissed off too. Like I'm wide open on half these plays. I think. I said Jackson Dart maybe week 15. I think if it's still 17-34 the next couple of weeks, we're going to get Jameis Winston a couple of weeks before we thought, which will lead to Jackson Dart a couple of weweeks before we thought.
I definitely, because Brian Daboll's going to get fired if not. This is horrible. He's arguing with Malik Neighbors already.
And he's going up for the high five and getting left hanging.
Yeah, dude, it's not good there. What else isn't good? Carolina. They get blitzed by the Jags 26-10. It was weird. Another freaking weather delay, which was the theme all football weekend. I mean, how many did we see in college? My God. But The takeaway here, Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, like whatever, 19 of 31, 178, a touchdown and a pick against this Panthers defense. Like everybody's trying to be like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. You perform that way. The only saving grace was Bryce Young was worse. And I can't believe, Tyson, I was having an aneurysm. How the hell do you go from the way you closed last season to an offseason where you have another year to understand the Dave Canales playbook, where you draft Tedero McMillan to be your number one wide receiver? You find Hunter Renfrow off the freaking street and he's torching everybody. And it's like, whoa, we may have another guy. To that offense being that disgracefully poor, it just might be that Bryce Young sucks. I'm going to start calling the realtors and getting my Bryce Young house off for sale on that Bryce Young island, because holy smokes, man, this was horrendous.
Yeah, I made that call. First quarter, Hunter Renfrow, I just out and up, basically like a stop and go is kind of what he ran. He was wide open for a touchdown. Bryce leaves it short. J.C. Horn with the interception of the year in week one with that one-handed snag.
Yeah.
You said, I think Trevor Lawrence, I don't know. He didn't stink today, but it was smelly. Like it's just kind of the same deal as always. He had a lot of easy misses. But Brad, we're this far into talking about this game. No Travis Hunter shout at all. Like we're here. He did it.
Well, I thought he looked good. I thought he was going to be good. Everybody's like, he's going to be a boss. He's not going to play. I'm like, guys, come on. Like just because if you don't like him or if you don't like the Dion thing, like that shouldn't cloud your judgment of he's a freaking insane football player and he's going to be awesome. Like I thought it was great. I'm a big Travis Hunter guy. I think he's going to be great. I hope he has a Hall of Fame career.
And that was really a setup because there's still no Brenton Strange shout out from you. I don't know what I have to do to get some love for this guy on this podcast.
Tyson, I'm pissed at Penn State. I was going to shout him out for leading, dude. Like, God, what a great showing from Brenton Strange, but I'm pissed at Penn State. She looks so bad. They crushed my spirit, dude. Like, I'm not even mentioning anybody Penn State this weekend.
My bad. They only won by 40, guys.
Niners 17-13. Tyson was tweaking this entire time. How many opportunities were there for the Niners to blow this thing open? Now Kittle goes down with the hammy. That's a concern, but this is something that always happens to the Niners. It's something we highlighted in the preseason. You know somebody's going to be hurt. We already had Christian McCaffrey. Well, he might not play. Well, how about this? You need him, so let's freaking have him 31 touches. The guy's hamstrings falling off the bone, and you guys give him the rock 31 times after you lose Kittle. It's unbelievable.
That's genuine. Like that's a real laugh. Like there's nothing else that I can do.
I was shocked.
Laugh. Like every play, you got the ball. They're down in the red zone like 4 times in the span of 5 minutes. It felt like, and when things sputtered, it was like, well, we got to get CMC on an option route, which is a great play, and that's fine. But like over and over and over again, you're just getting him hit. Brock Purdy wasn't good today. Sam Darnold was a little worse. Like Darnold had to work to get over 100 yards. And Jackson Smith and Jigba was responsible for pretty much all of them today. He was awesome. And this is something I said during the summer, and I think that it might have come true. I think Zach Charbonnet might be your lead running back in Seattle.
Dude, I know. And I said, remember, I was a big Charbonnet guy, and everybody's making fun of me, Ken Walker, this and that. I'm like, I don't know. I think the injuries are holding him back. But Charbonnet, 12 carries, 47 in the touchdown. Kenneth Walker, only 2 yards per carry. That doesn't scream lead back. So this will be something interesting, Tyson. McDonald isn't the same regime as the previous guy.
And that defense did look good in Seattle. Good. I will say that. But at the end of the game, when it mattered, Tariq Woolen is out of place and they lose the game. That should have been an interception. Brock Purdy left some touchdowns on the board. He threw some bad interceptions today, and they were able to get the win. Jake Moody, welcome. He might have to be the realtor to sell your house because there's no way. And look, I don't want to root for somebody to lose their job, but there's no way this dude is kicking for the 49ers in a week.
No, I mean, Shanahan just despises missed kicks too. Like he's more ruthless than anybody when it comes to kickers. I mean,
and they're not
I'm surprised
yarders,
he hasn't been
like 60 yarders. These were makeable field goals. These are chip shots.
Sam Darnold finishes with 150 yards passing. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 124 yards receiving.
Dude.
So there you go. Cooper Kupp, 3 targets, 2 catches, 15 yards, and that's supposed to be your number 2. Like this,
and one of them was when you needed 10, he got you 9 and went out of bounds.
Yeah, that was tough. Last one to discuss here in leftovers. The Rams win an ugly one, 14-9 against the Houston Texans. I'd circled the Texans. I'm like, this offense is going to be back. You know, I didn't necessarily think like Bobby Sloak was, you know, walking version of young Bill Walsh like 2 years ago, and then that he was Satan himself the following year. But I thought it was somewhere in between because those are pretty two extremes.
I like the idea that young Bill Walsh is God in that direct comparison.
What was this offensive display, Tyson? I'm sitting there. I'm
Trash.
Okay, I'm looking here. I understand that you want to spread it out because you got weapons, but Jaden Higgins, 2 catches, 32 yards. Xavier Hutchinson, 2 catches, 30 yards. Dalton Schultz, 3 catches, 28 yards. Justin Watson, 2 catches, 27 yards. Nico Collins, your guy, 3 catches, 25 yards. Where's the field stretching? Where's the attack? CJ Stroud was 7 yards per catch, but is anybody throwing the football down the field here? 19 to 27. He's checking stuff down. Which is fine. We said that's smart for Jalen Hurts to do the other day, but it resulted in the Texans not winning the football game. They didn't score in the second half.
Yeah, dude. It's one thing when they lead to like first downs and touchdowns. Jaden Higgins did get the ball taken from him on an interception, and that's hard. But like Nico Collins has to be more involved. I think we're going to see that. There's no way that they're going to roll into the rest of the season with him. Even like it's got to be like 12 targets a game. We're getting an alert before the game. Nick Chubb is going to take workhorse duty in Houston, and everyone's freaking out about that. It's like, have you guys been paying attention at all? They're not going to be able to run the ball whether he gets 12 carries like today or 25 carries. They had some interesting division of work there. But you know who didn't was the Rams. They gave us exactly what we thought we were going to get on that offensive side of the ball. Yeah. And look, everybody knew it was coming. And Puka Nacua delivered when they needed it. Kyron Williams delivered when they needed it. Devontae Adams had a bad drop to start, but then he was there at the end. Terrence Ferguson, welcome to the NFL. That was dude, that's a horrible way for that to happen. But the defense was good enough, to hold a Texans offense we think is going to be good to under 10 points. I think that's a scary spot for the rest of the NFC too.
Yeah, because Matt Stafford looked healthy and sharp. 21 to 29, 245, a touchdown. I've been going off on rants, and it's been great because the NFL's back. The disrespect that this guy has gotten throughout his career is sickening. This guy is unbelievable. And the fact he's not getting talked about like one of the greatest talents we've ever seen is a joke.
Dude, he just hit 60,000 passing yards. He's the second fastest guy to ever get there. We're in this weird nonstop debate era of like who's the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and everyone can agree on 4, but then everybody has an opinion on who 5 is, and nobody ever says Matthew Stafford. Like he's disqualified for some reason because everybody wants to make up the injuries that are going to keep him out for the year. Like, yeah, he gets banged up all the time. But when he plays, he's one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he looked better than all of your favorites today.
Exactly.
He did.
He's awesome. He's Matt Stafford. He's sick. Yeah. We know Nakua is getting 1 million balls. Yeah, he caught 10 for 130. Stop it. You can't. And it's because Stafford's unbelievable. So, All right, Tyson, that was awesome. I had a great time. Let's give some closing thoughts here, though. I'm going to throw it to you first. Just anything you want to touch on before we get out of here on week 1 or anything you saw or whatever you want to share here.
I think it was sloppy, and I don't want to overreact too much just because like nobody plays preseason anymore, and we kind of knew that was what we were going to get. The year 2 quarterbacks didn't inspire a bunch of confidence. Now we'll see Caleb and JJ McCarthy on Monday night here, but yeah, I think that's maybe something to follow. And then just the fact that nobody could run the football today, like at all, it pissed me off.
Yeah, Tyson's been running the football.
Run the ball, win the game.
I think the offensive lines and the continuity, they don't really hit anymore. I think that's something to do with it. But yeah, it was sloppy. I'm curious. That's why I don't want to overreact. Like these teams are going to look way different in week 4 than they are going to look today. And so, damn, it was great to have the NFL back, though. Oh, that was awesome. And if you couldn't tell through my yelling, it's going to get probably more pronounced here if we keep doing this because I get fired up after this. And it's because I just friggin' love the NFL, man. And this was a great way to come back. I mean, we got sloppiness. We got some elite games. We got some of our guys performing well, some of our guys not getting the rock. And it's like, what's going on? So, what a great way to be back. That's our week 1 reaction. Like, subscribe, and share the show. Share it with a friend. Share it with them. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button. Subscribe so don't miss a single thing we do. We'll be back early next week, reacting to college football, previewing the week ahead in the NFL, and all that good stuff. So don't miss a single thing we do here, and we'll talk to you when we talk to you. Peace.